Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm 34 years old. The pattern started early. I was 7 when they filmed my sister Emily's kindergarten graduation on their new camcorder. Mine 2 years later they forgot entirely. Mrs. Chen from next door drove me home because mom had Emily's dance recital and dad was at a work thing. I sat in Mrs. Chen's Honda, eating the cookie she'd saved from her lunch, watching other families take photos. High school looked the same. Emily made honor roll once in sophomore year. They framed the certificate, bought her a new laptop, took her to Capitol Grill. I made honor roll 7 consecutive semesters. Got a card from Applebee's worth $25 and a good job without eye contact. My 16th birthday brought a Target gift card. Emily's brought a Lexus with a bow. Not used. Brand new. Pearl white. College acceptances arrived in spring of senior year. Emily got into state school. Party for 40 people. Catered. String lights in the backyard. Speeches about her bright future. My acceptance to MIT arrived 3 days later with a partial scholarship. Mom read it at breakfast. That's nice, honey. Can you pick up Emily from volleyball practice at 4? 4 years later, graduation day at MIT. Cap and gown. Summa cum laude in computer science. The morning of, mom called. Rachel, honey, Emily has that apartment showing today. The really good one. We promised we'd be there. You understand, right? It's a big step for her. I understood perfectly. I walked across that stage alone. Mrs. Chen flew out. She was 83. She sat in the family section with a homemade sign that said, Rachel, I always knew. We got dinner after at a small Italian place. She pressed $200 into my hand. Not a loan. An investment in someone who earned it. The wedding happened 2 years later. I'd met David at work. Software engineer, kind eyes, steady. Nothing flashy. We planned something small. 30 people. A garden venue. Simple and beautiful. I hand-addressed the invitation to my parents. Embossed paper. Formal calligraphy. It arrived back 6 weeks later, forwarded from their old address, never opened. The envelope pristine. Called mom. Did you get the wedding invitation? Oh, Rachel, you know how it is. Emily's going through something with her boyfriend. We really need to be there for her right now. You're so independent. You don't need us there. I hung up. Didn't call back. David's family filled those seats. His mother cried. His father gave a speech about gaining a daughter. Mrs. Chen sat front row wearing purple and clutching tissues. The photos turned out beautiful. Complete even without blood. The Christmases came next. 5 of them. Social media made it visible. Year 1. Complete family Christmas. Caption under photo of 17 people. Parents, Emily, her boyfriend, cousins, aunts, uncles. All of them. Year 2. Same house, same tree, 20 people. Emily's boyfriend, now her fiancé. Year 3. Emily's wedding announcement at Christmas dinner. 23 people raising glasses. Year 4. Emily pregnant, everyone touching her belly. Year 5. Baby's first Christmas. 28 people. I received no invitations. Not once. Not even a text. The offer letter arrived on a Tuesday morning in October. Senior software architect position. Tech company going public. Base salary plus significant equity. The numbers felt unreal. I accepted within an hour. The equity materialized 18 months later when the IPO hit. Options converted to shares. Shares converted to numbers that changed everything. I sat in my apartment staring at the brokerage statement. David held my hand. You earned this, he said quietly. We didn't buy luxury anything immediately. Felt too fast, too visible. Paid off student loans first. Then David's. Then Mrs. Chen's mortgage quietly, anonymously through a lawyer because she'd never have accepted. 6 months later we upgraded. Found a 3-bedroom condo downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows. City views. Security desk. Underground parking. The Mercedes came next. Fuss. Obsidian black. $155,000 before the options package. Ventilated seats, executive rear seating, Burmester sound system. The salesman at the dealership treated me like I belonged there. Dr. Harrison, he said, though I'd never used the title professionally. The 2024 S-Class. You have excellent taste. The Patek Philippe came from an estate sale. A 1960s Calatrava. Rose gold. $47,000. David thought it was excessive. Watches tell time, he said. My Casio does that for $40. It's not about time, I answered. It's about knowing I can. Work continued climbing. Promotion to VP of Engineering came 3 months after the Mercedes. Managing 60 people. Overseeing 3 product lines. The kind of role that puts your name in tech publications. The kind my parents would have framed if Emily had gotten it. The reunion invitation arrived in July. Emily sent it. Group text to the extended family. August 12th. Mom and Dad's house. Everyone come. It's been too long. Bring the kids. 37 people in the thread. Including me. First invitation in 6 years. I showed David. Should I go? Do you want to? I want to see their faces, I said quietly. Is that petty? It's human. The morning of August 12th arrived clear and hot. I dressed carefully. Navy silk dress. Understated but expensive. Hair professionally done that morning. Minimal makeup. The Patek Philippe on my wrist caught light through the window. David wore a tailored suit. We looked successful. Not flashy. Earned. The Mercedes started with that particular German engine sound that costs 6 figures. Smooth. Confident. We drove 40 minutes to my parents' house. The subdivision looked smaller than I remembered. Modest homes, tidy lawns, SUVs and driveways. My car cost more than most of these houses' annual property taxes. Cars already lined both sides of the street when we arrived. I parked 3 houses down. The Mercedes stood out immediately. Obsidian black surrounded by beige Camrys and silver Pilots. David squeezed my hand. You okay? Yeah, I said. I am. We walked up the driveway. Voices from the backyard. Children laughing. Burgers on the grill. Exactly like the photos I'd seen for 5 Christmases. I opened the gate. Mom saw me first. She was holding Emily's daughter, my niece I'd never met. Her face went through 3 expressions in 2 seconds. Confusion. Recognition. The baby reached for her earring. Mom didn't notice. Rachel. Her voice went up. Rachel. Sweetheart. You came. Sweetheart. I couldn't remember her using that word. Ever. Dad turned from the grill. Spatula in hand. His eyes went to the watch first. Then to David. Then back to me. Well, he said carefully. Look who decided to show up. Emily appeared from inside carrying a bowl of potato salad. She stopped at the door. Her eyes scanned me like a price checker. Dress. Watch. Hair. I saw the calculation happen. Oh my God, she said. Rachel. Well, you look. She paused. Different. Hi, Emily, I said evenly. This is my husband, David. Husband. Mom's voice went even higher. Rachel, I didn't know you got married. I waited 3 beats. You didn't open the invitation. Silence dropped. Uncomfortable. Heavy. Oh, Mom recovered. Things were so busy with Emily's situation. You know how it is. I know exactly how it is, I said softly. Uncle Tom approached with beer. Rachel. Haven't seen you in years. How've you been? Working, I answered. VP of Engineering at Maverick Tech. His eyebrows went up. Maverick? That company's everywhere. IPO last year, right? 18 months ago, I confirmed. Jesus, Uncle Tom said. You were there for that? He looked at Dad. Did you know Rachel was at Maverick? Dad's face went careful. Lose touch sometimes. Everyone's busy. Cousin Jennifer appeared at my elbow. She'd always been kind. Sent me cards on birthdays my parents forgot. Rachel, she said warmly. That car outside. The black Mercedes. Is that yours? It is, I said. It's gorgeous, Jennifer breathed. S-Class. 2024. Those start at what, $120,000? $155,000 before options, I answered quietly. The number landed like a stone in still water. Ripples spread. Conversations paused. Heads turned. Mom recovered first, switching to hostess mode. Well, you must be starving. Let me get you a plate. David, what can I get you to drink? She'd learned his name 30 seconds ago. The afternoon moved forward. I stayed polite. Distant. answered questions about work in brief, professional terms. David handled the extended family beautifully. Uncle Tom pulled him into debate about electric vehicles versus combustion engines. Cousin Jennifer asked about my dress designer. Emily approached while I was getting water. So, she said, things are going well for you. They are. That's a serious watch. It is. Rachel. She paused, playing with her wine glass. Why didn't you ever tell us about your success? I looked at her directly. You never asked. That's not fair. You just disappeared. You had 28 people at Christmas last year, Emily. Where was my invitation? Her face flushed. Mom handles the invitations. Mom has my number, my address, my email. What she doesn't have is interest. That's harsh. It's accurate, I said evenly. Excuse me. I walked to the far corner of the yard. David joined me. Ready to leave? Soon, I answered. Not yet. Dad approached as the sun started setting. Hamburger in hand, beer in the other. Casual. Like we had these conversations regularly. Rachel, he said. Can we talk? We are talking. Privately. No need, I said. Anything you want to say you can say here. He glanced at David. David didn't move. Hey, Dad started. Look, your mother and we've been talking. About investments. Retirement planning. You clearly know your way around money. We thought, maybe you could give us some advice. Maybe help us strategize. Strategize, I repeated. Well, yes. You've done so well. We thought maybe you could help us do better. You want financial advice. More than advice, he said, warming to the topic. Partnership maybe. You invest, we provide, well, family support, network, that kind of thing. I let the words settle. Took a sip of water. Waited. Family support, I said finally. Like coming to my MIT graduation? His face tightened. Or opening my wedding invitation? I continued quietly. Or inviting me to Christmas. Any Christmas? In 5 years. Rachel. You want to discuss investments, I said. Here's my investment advice. You invested nothing in me for 34 years. That's a complete portfolio. No additions needed. That's not fair. We raised you, fed you, put a roof. You did the legal minimum, I interrupted, still calm. You kept me alive. Congratulations. That's not investment. That's obligation. Mom appeared. Rachel, honey, what's going on? Dad wants to discuss money, I said clearly. Oh. Mom brightened. Yes. We were just saying you've done so well and we could really use some help with. No, I said. The word hung. I'm sorry. Mom blinked. No. I'm not helping with money. Or investments. Or any financial need you have. Rachel, Dad's voice hardened. We're family. I pulled out my phone. Opened photos. Turned it to face them. This is your Christmas post from last year. Complete family Christmas. 28 people. Where am I? Mom's face went pale. I swiped. This one's from 3 years ago. Everyone we love most. Where am I? Swiped again. Emily's wedding announcement. All together at last. Where am I? We thought, Mom started. You thought I didn't notice, I finished. You thought I'd disappear quietly. And I did. But you didn't get to decide when I reappeared. Or under what terms. You're being cruel, Emily's voice came from behind. They're getting older. They need help. I turned to her. Did they need help when they bought you a Lexus for your 16th birthday? When they paid for your apartment? When they showed up to every volleyball game while Mrs. Chin drove me home from art club? That's ancient history, Emily snapped. It's pattern, I corrected. It's evidence. And it's permanent. Dad's voice went cold. Fine. Be selfish. But don't expect to be part of this family anymore. I smiled. Small. I haven't been part of this family for a very long time, Dad. You just didn't notice until I stopped caring. We left without goodbyes. David opened my car door. The Mercedes interior smelled like leather and new car and choices I'd earned. We pulled away from the curb. In the rearview mirror I saw them standing in the driveway. All three of them. Watching me leave. I didn't wave. The calls started that evening. Mom first. 7 times. I let them ring. Then texts. Rachel, we need to talk. This isn't how family behaves. Your father is very upset. His blood pressure can't handle stress like this. I'm your mother. You can't just cut me off. Dad's messages came more aggressive. This is extremely immature. You're making a mistake you'll regret. Don't expect us to be available when you need us. Emily's were manipulation dressed as concern. Rachel, they're really hurt. Can't you just apologize? This is affecting the whole family. People are talking. I never thought you'd be this petty. I blocked none of them. Let the messages pile up. Evidence folders, Dr. Walsh had called them in therapy. Keep everything. Not to use against them. To use for yourself. When they try to rewrite history. Work continued thriving. The board meeting that Tuesday went flawlessly. New product launch exceeded projections by 40%. The CEO pulled me aside after. Rachel, the board wants to discuss expanding your role. Chief Technology Officer. We're thinking succession planning. I'm interested, I said simply. My assistant knocked later that day. Mrs. Harrison? Your mother's on line 3. She says it's urgent. Take a message, please. She's called 4 times. I know. Take a message. The message read, please call. Dad's in hospital. Blood pressure incident. Family needs you. I called the hospital directly. Spoke to the nurse. My father, Robert Hayes. Admitted today. Oh yes, the nurse said cheerfully. Mr. Hayes. He's fine. Mild hypertension, no incident. Observation for a few hours, then discharge. Should be home by dinner. Thank you, I said. Hung up. Called Mom back. She answered first ring. Rachel. Thank God. Your father is fine, I said quietly. I called the hospital. The nurse said mild hypertension. Home by dinner. No incident. Silence. Using Dad's health as manipulation, I continued evenly. That's new territory, Mom. Even for you. I wasn't. You were. It's documented now. The nurse confirmed timeline. You called me before Dad was even in the observation room. We're desperate, Rachel. Desperation isn't my problem to solve. What happened to you? Mom's voice cracked, real tears now. Used to be so sweet. So agreeable. I used to need your approval, I answered. I don't anymore. That's not cruelty, Mom. That's growth. I hung up. Dr. Walsh's voice echoed from last session. Your parents' voices colonized your thoughts. Let's evict them gently. What they think about your boundaries is none of your business. The charity gala came 6 weeks later. Maverick Tech was the primary sponsor. I was speaking. Panel discussion about women in technology. Evening gown required. I bought Versace. Deep emerald green. David in Armani tux. We looked like we belonged on that stage. As we did. The venue glittered. Crystal. $500 plates. The tech elite. Board members. Venture capitalists. Politicians. David and I worked the room before dinner. Handshakes. Air kisses. Professional warmth. Rachel Harrison? A woman approached. Board member from Sequoia Capital. I've been hoping to meet you. Your work at Maverick is impressive. Thank you, I said. Are you enjoying the evening? Immensely. Though I'm more interested in whether you're happy at Maverick or if you're open to conversations. I smiled. Always open to conversations. The panel went smoothly. Questions about breaking glass ceilings, mentoring young women, balancing leadership with authenticity. I spoke about Mrs. Chin. About the people who showed up. About David's family who'd made space at the table. Success doesn't happen in isolation, I said from the stage. It happens because someone sees your potential before you do. Mrs. Chin saw mine. She flew across the country at 83 to watch me graduate when my own family couldn't be bothered. That's investment. That's family. Applause rippled. I returned to my seat. During dinner, David touched my arm. Don't turn around quickly. But your parents are here. What? 3 tables back. Your mom, dad, and Emily. Emily's husband, too. I turned slowly. There they were. Evening wear. Formal attire. Seated with people I didn't recognize. They'd bought tickets. To my event. Mom saw me looking. Eager. Bright. I turned back around. Continued eating. After dinner, the networking reception. Open bar. Small plates. Live piano. I moved through conversations professionally. Thanked donors. Posed for photos with other speakers. Mom materialized at my elbow. Rachel. Sweetheart. That speech was beautiful. Thanks, I said neutrally. We had no idea you were speaking. When we saw the program, we were so proud. Proud, I repeated. Of course. You're doing such important work. Dad and Emily appeared. Both smiling. Warm. Like we did this regularly. Rachel, Dad said. Impressive event. Really impressive. Thank you. Listen, he continued. About the reunion. Maybe we overreacted. We'd like to talk. Clear the air. Maybe dinner this week. I looked at him. Really looked. Saw the new suit. Probably rented. The watch. Fossil, not luxury brand. The shoes needing polish. Saw Mom's dress. Department store. Last season. Emily's jewelry. Good but not great. Saw them seeing me. Versace. Patek Philippe. Maverick Tech name badge with VP Engineering under my name. Photographers capturing me with board members. Saw them calculating. No, I said simply. I'm sorry. Mom blinked. No dinner. No clearing air. No reconciliation. Rachel, we came all this way. You bought tickets, I corrected. To an event I was already part of. That's not effort. That's opportunism. That's unfair, Emily said. We're trying. You're trying now, I said evenly. You saw the Mercedes. The watch. This dress. This event. My name on that screen. You didn't try when I needed trying. When I graduated MIT. When I got married. When I made VP. You try now because you think there's something in it for you. We're family, Dad said, voice hardening. You keep saying that word, I answered quietly. But you've never understood what it means. Family shows up. Family opens invitations. Family doesn't caption photos, complete family, when their daughter is missing from them. How long are you going to hold that against us? Mom's voice went sharp. I'm not holding anything, I said. I'm simply maintaining boundaries with people who've proven themselves unsafe. Unsafe. Emily's laugh came bitter. Dramatic much? I pulled out my phone. Opened the evidence folder. 5 Christmases. 0 invitations. Documentation. Swiped. Your wedding announcement. I learned about it from Facebook. Swiped. Dad's fake hospital emergency. Timeline proves manipulation. Swiped. 17 voicemails in 2 weeks. All demanding access to my money. You're keeping receipts? Dad's face flushed. On your own family? Dr. Walsh calls them evidence folders, I said calmly. Because people who gaslight require evidence to prevent historical revision. You'd know about that. The VP of Donor Relations approached. Mrs. Harrison? The photographer would like you for sponsor photos. Of course, I said. Turned to my parents. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I walked away. Didn't look back. David found me at the photo backdrop. Squeezed my hand. You okay? Yeah, I said. Meant it. I really am. The photographer arranged us with other sponsors. Maverick CEO. The founder. 3 board members. Me in the center. Big smiles everyone. This one's going on the website. Flash captured us. Successful. Belonging. Complete. In the background, barely visible, my parents stood at the edge of the crowd. Watching. Outside looking in. The photos hit Maverick's social media the next morning. Professional. My name in the caption. VP of Engineering Rachel Harrison speaking on women in technology leadership. Mom texted immediately. That photo is beautiful. Can you send it to me? I'd love to frame it. I didn't respond. Emily called. Rachel. Seriously. You're making this so much harder than it needs to be. I'm not making anything hard, I said evenly. I'm living my life. You're upset you're not in it. We want to be in it. You had 34 years to want that. You didn't. Not when wanting required effort. Only when it promised access. People change, Rachel. They do, I agreed. I changed. I stopped waiting for you to see me. So that's it? You're just done with us. I'm not done, Emily. I was never started. You can't end something that never existed. She hung up. The promotion came through 2 weeks later. Chief Technology Officer. Corner office. Equity package that made the first one look modest. Press release. Tech publication features. My face on magazine covers with headlines like, The Quiet Rise of Rachel Harrison. Mrs. Chen called when she saw the article. She was 87 now. Voice soft but still sharp. Rachel. I saw your picture. In the magazine. Hi, Mrs. Chen. I always knew, she said quietly. That day I drove you home from art club. You were 9. You didn't cry. You just looked out the window. I knew then you'd be fine. More than fine. You saved me, I said, throat tight. No, honey. I just saw you. That's all anyone needed to do. We talked for an hour. About gardens. Her grandchildren. David's new role. Normal things. Important things. Family things. My parents sent a card the next week. Congratulations on the promotion. Inside, a check for $5,000. A note in Mom's handwriting. To celebrate your success. We're so proud. Let's start fresh. I took a photo of the check. Saved it to the evidence folder. Drove to the bank. Deposited it. Immediately transferred $5,000 to Mrs. Chen's account with a note. For all the times you showed up. Sent Mom a text. Check received. Consider it a severance payment. The relationship is terminated. She called 17 times that day. I answered none. Dad sent an email. Subject line, Final attempt at reconciliation. The body read, Rachel, your mother is devastated. Your sister is confused. I'm frankly disappointed. We raised you better than this. Yes, we made mistakes. All parents do. But this scorched earth approach is cruel. We're asking, begging for one dinner. One conversation. A chance to rebuild. If you refuse, then you're exactly what you claim to hate. Someone who abandons family. The choice is yours. But make it knowing you'll live with the consequences. I read it 3 times. Showed Dr. Walsh in our next session. Thoughts? She asked. Masterclass in manipulation, I said. Guilt, threat, blame shifting, and ultimatum. All in 6 sentences. And how do you feel reading it? I sat with the question. Felt my body. No tension. No tears. No rage. Free, I said finally. I feel free. Then you know your answer. I replied from my work email. Professional. Clean. Dad. You raised me to be legally alive. Mrs. Chen raised me to be human. You're angry. I can finally see the difference. You say all parents make mistakes. True. Loving parents apologize, change, repair. You've done none of those things. You've only demanded I accept poor treatment because you label it family. You ask for one dinner. You had hundreds of dinners to include me. You didn't. One conversation. You had thousands of opportunities to ask about my life. You didn't. A chance to rebuild. You can't rebuild what was never constructed. Your email accuses me of abandoning family. Fascinating considering you've been practicing for decades. The difference is I'm honest about it. The choice isn't mine anymore. It was mine when I sent wedding invitations you didn't open. When I graduated MIT without you. When I appeared in Christmas photos labeled, Complete Family, through absence. I made my choice every one of those times. I chose to keep trying. This isn't abandonment. It's finally accepting your answer. I don't wish you ill. I wish you nothing. That's not cruelty. It's honesty. Please don't contact me again. I hit send. Blocked all their numbers. Their emails. Their social media. Done. David and I bought the beach house 3 months later. Oregon coast. Floor-to-ceiling windows facing water. 3 bedrooms for future children who'd grow up knowing they mattered. Knowing showing up isn't optional. Knowing family is built, not presumed. Mrs. Chen visited that Christmas. She met David's parents who'd become mine through choice. We cooked together. Laughed. Told stories. Took photos. All of us, everyone who mattered, complete and real. The doorbell rang during dessert. David answered. Came back looking uncomfortable. Your parents are here, he said quietly. On the porch. I walked to the door. They stood in the cold. No car visible. Someone dropped them off. Rachel, Mom said. Please. It's Christmas. It is, I agreed. Can we come in? No. Just for a moment. To talk. We have nothing to discuss. Dad stepped forward. We made mistakes. We're admitting it. Isn't that what you wanted? I wanted parents, I said evenly. 20 years ago. 30 years ago. I don't want them anymore. I have a family now. One that showed up before I had money to make it worth their time. Rachel, Mom's voice cracked. You taught me everything I needed to know, I interrupted gently. You taught me that family is conditional. That love has price tags. That showing up is optional. I learned the lessons. I just didn't learn the ones you intended. We're sorry, Dad said. First time ever. We're truly sorry. I forgive you, I said. Meant it. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean access. It means I'm not carrying your choices anymore. You are. I closed the door. Locked it. Walked back to the dining room where warmth waited. Where laughter continued. Where people who'd chosen me sat around a table built from better timber. Mrs. Chin squeezed my hand. Proud of you, she whispered. Through the window I watched my parents walk down the driveway. Small figures getting smaller. I felt nothing but peace. The Mercedes sat in the garage. The Patek Philippe on my wrist. The beach house deed in my name. All of it earned. None of it purchased. All of it mine. Not because they abandoned me. Because I finally abandoned the idea that they'd change. The waves crashed outside. David poured wine. Mrs. Chin told stories about her garden. David's mother shared recipes. His father debated politics with warmth. This was family. This was always family. I'd just been looking in the wrong place. The numbers stayed blocked. The boundaries stayed firm. The peace stayed permanent. If you've lived this story, tell me yours. Tell me how you learned that family isn't who raised you. It's who shows up. How you discovered that blood means nothing without respect. How you finally understood that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building a life so complete, so full, so genuinely peaceful that their absence becomes invisible. Not because you're bitter. Because you're free.